Hey everybody, welcome to InPsightRadio. I am your host, Danielle Egnew, and you are a fly on the wall to everywhere. How are you? Happy February. Woo! You know, we are barreling down here into Valentine's Day, and the weather is starting to break up here. We're all up to these beautiful warm temperatures in Montana of 29 degrees. So, hey, you know, a lot of the Midwest has been experiencing our normal winters with the 40 below and the horrible wind chill, and Tacoma, Washington, where my family lives, is under 6 to 8 inches of snow. And, you know, every once in a while, the earth just does what it's going to do. And on top of that, of course, we've got all kinds of climate shifts, which is just its own version of completely weird at this point. So anyway, I am just excited that we're up to a balmy 29 degrees. And as we barrel into February, and man, have you noticed that this month has flown? That in part is due to some astrological energies. I'm not an astrologer, yet these angels have been telling me that the energy of transformation that's coming in is huge. And this energy of transformation coming in February is big. I was seeing this in January. There is some sort of evolving energy that's going to be elevating itself and moving forward here. And that is coming literally this month. It's an energy. And I've been seeing people post about it on Facebook. It's fascinating. I'm getting tagged in posts where people are saying, what is going on in February? This is nuts. Something's happening. I know it's happening. So anyway, that's just really super cool to see all of that happening. And so what I'm enjoying this month is we are very close to Valentine's Day, which is, of course, as I record this podcast, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. And so what I really want to talk about today is, you know, the power of the energy in the quantum field of the most powerful source there is in our, not only our third dimension, in the ninth dimension, in the fifth dimension, in the fourth dimension, in the seventh dimension. This power that I'm going to talk about is something that we all have flowing through us. And we really don't understand it that well. This power that I'm going to talk about is an energy that is intrinsic to the fabric of the DNA, the four types building base blocks of DNA that our entire universe is physically built upon. This energy that flows through you and me and the ground and through the chairs and through the rocks and the trees and the air, this energy is the single most valuable renewable source of energy for every single type of power, from powering a building to powering your enthusiasm to powering healing. This singular energy is the greatest free energy available to us in our universe. And like I said, not even just in our dimension, in multiverses. This energy is so non-quantifiable that we break it down into some really odd little groupings and we give it a pat little word and we call it love. And what I find so fascinating when I talk about the power of this really the power of this love energy is so incredible that people don't understand that this particular energy is not just about a Valentine. You know, it's not about, gee, I love you, you're awesome, I love you, I want to have crazy, you know, monkey sex with you. I mean, it goes way beyond a physical response, love. And we don't really understand what love is because we don't even love ourselves half the time. So what I'm going to do for this next hour is, you know, just like the old song, what is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? Remember that song from the 80s? Well, maybe you don't, but it was a good one. And if you think about that, you know, we've got the idea of people trying to define love. Between that and then we've got Tina Turner, right? What's love got to do with it? I mean, we've got all kinds of songs trying to figure out what love is, what our relationship with love is, and why it's so elusive to us. And this is what cracks me up, gang. So please, if you don't listen to any other podcast in this series, listen to this one and pass this one around, okay? Share this one. When it goes up to the archives, share it and share it and share it. Because love is not something we generate. Love is something that flows through us. So we're going to start there. People say, well, love's a myth and I don't have any love and I've never had love in my life. Well, perhaps people haven't, and that's so heartbreaking. Perhaps people haven't felt others love them. However, know this. Love is not something that we necessarily generate. I mean, we can generate it, yet it flows through us. So let me give you an example. Okay, there is natural electromagnetic energy on our planet. The planet generates it. The planet has an energy signature. And when we have a lightning storm, it generates, millions and millions of watts of electricity at one time. And that's just nature doing its thing. Love exists in the quantum field, which is the dark matter fabric all around us. I want you to think of being wrapped in a quilt, and that quilt goes through your cells. Okay, I want you to imagine a quilt that weaves in between all of your cells. So the quilt isn't just wrapped around you, it's wrapped through you, and it's so snuggly and perfectly warm. You know that down that's just right. Okay. So, or if you're allergic to down, the fluff that's just right, okay? So you've got this quantum field that runs in between all of your cells. And that quantum field is carrying with it currents of information. And the quantum field, we're going to break this down further, that quilt that's rolling through you, it's around you, it's through you, it actually starts to cut through your cells because it travels in between your atoms. And in your atoms, it travels in between those quarks that make up the atoms. Okay? So there's this quilt, this quantum field, it knows how to wrap you up on every level. This is the connective tissue of the universe. It's like the fascia in the body, okay? Our bodies are these little microcosms for the rest of the universe. And it's not accidental that we've been given a body that's a microcosm for the universe, because that's how we learn, right? We're like, have body, we'll study it, okay. And then we go on with our bad selves. So what we see is that the quantum field, gang, because we're talking about love today, the quantum field is the quilt that wraps around us, that wraps between ourselves, that wraps through ourselves. And in that quilt is coursing energy. And it's gentle energy. And we share this quilt. Are you ready for this? We share this quilt with every other person in the world. We also share this quilt with every other thing in the world. Water, plants, animals, inert objects, it doesn't matter. We all share this same quilt. So, when you're sharing a blanket with your loved one in bed, I'm the worst with this. And you roll over and you're grabbing that blanket and you're pulling it to cover your shoulder. And my wife will just kind of make this little sad sound in the middle of her sleep and kind of tug back on the blankets because apparently I'm pulling them off of her, which is so not cool. Yet when we roll over in ourselves and tug this interconnected quantum field blanket, other people feel it, other things feel it. And almost 7 billion of us on the planet are rolling over in our quilts. So we're tugging on each other all the time, and we don't even realize it. And love is the energy current that is running through this quilt. I want you to think of an electric blanket. Remember back in the day? In the 1970s, we had fire-starting devices wrapping our beds up called an electric blanket. Yeah, go humanity. Anyway, I want you to think of an electric blanket, and I want you to think of this love current running through the quilt that runs around you, between your cells, and through all your atoms, and even breaks down those quarks, and it's even running into the quarks. So what's the energy that's running through there? We call it love. Yet we're going to name it something different for the rest of the podcast, because when I say love, man, we kick it right out of our heads, don't we? It's like, oh my God, I can't believe she did a whole podcast on love. I'm going to throw up in my mouth. Blah. Yes, peace, love, namaste, and harmony. Blah. Gang, we've got the wrong idea about what love is. We've got a little bit of the right idea about what love is, but the rest of it, we're kind of missing by a mile here, okay? So just hang in there with me on this. So the energy that's running through the quilt, just like an electric blanket, is love. And what we're going to rename that energy is all provision. The love is all provision. It is your money energy. It is your peace energy. It is your healing energy. It is your connection to others energy. So love is all provision. And it also can inspire the energy of it, can get the energetic cues, can initiate in our brain the manufacturing and releasing of chemicals in the body like dopamine and serotonin. And when we feel these incredible chemicals in the brain, our spirit that must communicate with our body through a chemical translation system, our spirit sends the energetic impulse to the brain, which, of course, our brain's an electromagnetic organ, right? So then our brain picks up this electromagnetic impulse, and our brain says, hey, it looks like we're making love chemistry, and we kick out all of those chemicals. So love is all provision. The all provision energy is proof that our spirit is picking up something greater than ourselves out of the ethers and turning it into something chemically in our head. How freaking cool is that? Okay. So we have, you look at an oil refinery, and that oil refinery is breaking down petroleum into all kinds of different products. Yet what we have the opportunity to see here is that our brain is translating the energy of all provision into a chemical response so it can communicate to our body, so our body knows that it does not have to be in a hyper vigilant state. Our body says, oh, wow, gosh, I'm getting the spiritual cue that all is well. So I'm going to create all is well chemicals and pass it to the body so the body can stop having a racing heart and burning through its endocrine system as it's freaking out. And the pituitary gland, the body can go, okay, everything's cool, people. All right. So love is the all provision energy coursing through like an electric blanket, the quantum field that goes between all of your cells that allows and cues the electromagnetic organ called the brain to, at times, release certain chemicals to cue the body that it can relax and be at peace. How freaking cool is that? All right. So the all provision of love. We think of love in terms of having fluffy butterflies and being in love with somebody. And that's one absolutely gorgeous application for it. Absolutely. Love is also courage. Okay. Love is also the ability to rise up past the self's ideal or limitations mentally of oneself. Think about this. We cast ourselves in this role of a limited person because we're afraid. We are afraid that we can't stand up to ourselves. We're afraid that we can't stand up to our greatest demons inside ourselves. We are fear. We tend to encapsulate in that quantum field that runs through us in our quilt. We will pick up fear energies and run it through us in an attempt to keep ourselves safe in a hypervigilant way. And those of us that are in the metaphysical field and teach metaphysics and study metaphysics, or spiritual physics, as I prefer to call it, we call this manifestation. Energy goes where thoughts flow. Energy goes where thoughts flow, and words have weight. So when we're telling ourselves, oh, I got to avoid being in pain, or I have to really protect myself, when we're using these words and these energies, what we're doing is the quantum field that connects us all, we're requesting an energy current to come through our electric blanket that is that fear current, so we can identify that fear current and we can keep ourselves safe in our minds. What we're actually doing is ushering through the fear energy on a microcosmic level through our cells, which then, what have we learned about the brain, gang? Okay, then it goes to the electromagnetic organ in the brain and says, hey, guess what? We're apparently on the fear pattern right now. We're on the fear program. So could you please manufacture for me chemicals that will cue the body that we are in a hypervigilant state? So biologically, we can look out for the soul that's within our body. Will you cue the brain to release all of these insane chemicals that are fear related? And the brain does. And the brain floods the body with anxiety, adrenaline, with all kinds of things because the brain was cued by the electric current running through our quilt, running through our electric blanket, going through our cells. The brain was cued by fear that we pulled from the quantum field, or we pulled from the blanket that connects all of us. And believe me, most people are putting fear energy into the current that we're pulling through our blanket. Because remember, we share this blanket with everybody. Okay? I mean, it's like if somebody wets the bed, you're going to get your thigh wet. That's just the way it goes with our energies. And I know that sounds gross, but at the same time, if somebody warms up the bed, then you're going to have a nice toasty snuggle. Okay? We share everything in our environment. So when we're talking about the love energies, well, when we think of love as this abstract, as this mental thing, as something we have to earn, as something that is given to us by another person. And yes, love is given to us by another person. Yet for many of us in America, we've been trained that love is romance and great sex. That is one way to get love from somebody else. And there is all kinds of powerful energies that get exchanged in intimacy. And those energies go through our chakras. I mean, yes, there's a physical portion of it. When we actually have that hallelujah moment at the end of our intimate encounter, our root chakra is blowing wide open. Our muscles contract, but they also contract because that chakra is blowing open. I mean, it's a whole thing that's happening. There's mechanics of release and mechanics of purging our chakras and getting all the junk out that doesn't need to be there. That happens through healthy sexual energetic exchange. And that is inspired through the love chemistry. Okay. So, I mean, love, as if you want to look at it as a scrubber unit, love has the ability to actually get in there and purge our chakras, or to inspire us to purge our chakras by partaking in physical activity, sex, exercise, hugging somebody. I mean, it's not all about sex either. Sex is one way to do it. Yet it's interesting about sex, you know. I'm going to hover on this for just a second because we don't talk about sex. I've got all the 1980s songs and 1990s songs in my head. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So, I mean, when we think about sex, we think about, sex, let's not talk about it. Well, yeah, the more we don't talk about it, the more we don't talk about the healthy aspects that when our chakral systems open up, that moves the chi of the body. And there are people who get into sexual addictions because we're not moving the chi in the body in a healthy way. And we can manually trigger those particular parts of our body to have a physical response. And that physical response is going to trigger the chakra to have its release, and it goes right up the chakral chain. When we have an orgasm, it goes right up the chakral chain. It releases the root chakra. Then it goes to the sacral. It goes up to the solar plexus. It goes up to the heart. It goes up to the throat, to the third eye, and to the crown. I mean, it's like a series of firecrackers that just go pop, 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 like cracking your back, and all of those individualized, vertebrae crack because of the one below it. Our root chakra is our largest chakra, and it holds us to the earth. And it's very important for us to go barefooting in the summertime, by the way. Even if you're just sitting in a lawn chair with your bare feet touching the earth, it helps us ground. So when we talk about love, we tend to think about sex. And people with sexual addictions are not connecting the love frequency oftentimes, sometimes they are, but aren't really connecting the love frequency with the need to blow the chakra out. A lot of times sexual addiction is a side effect of a really bunged up chi system. And it's an escapism mechanism, and it takes your mind off of things for 5 seconds while the hallelujah moment hits you. But then you're just back in your body going, oh, crap. Well, here I sit in this crowded room full of boxes, and I still need to unpack it all. So when we're talking about the love frequency, we certainly can connect in a healthy, uplifted manner with our partner, and we can exchange that safety, and we absorb others' energies when we're intimate with them, gang. We do. And so, whether you're male or female, you are exchanging energies. And women, I got to tell you, we're exchanging energies we're made to absorb those energies. So we are really racking up energies in different ways. Males, you absorb it also. Yet males have a different physiology in how we exchange energy and love. And so a lot of times, guys are biologically wired to have more sex because they've got the biology in them to spread the seed and keep the race going. Okay, that's kind of a biological imperative that's still walking around in the mammal body of males. And so you add to that the fact that women, and this has to do with love, but this is very important because love is also sharing of chi. It is the movement of chi, and it is the understanding of self. And we get into it with ourselves negatively around issues of intimacy and sex, especially around Valentine's Day, which is why I'm hitting this so hard. Yet males, let's look at your physiology, fellas, okay? Women, for most of our lives, our body is built every 28 days. We have a menstrual cycle. We purge like crazy. We purge old energies. We purge old tissues. We're like, get it out of here. We cry. Our whole entire system gets wrung out like a sponge every 28 days and gets reset. And we're like, man, I feel better after that. Let's rock it and roll it. And ladies, think about as you wear towards that menstrual cycle, at the end of that menstrual cycle, you're like, oh God, I'm bloating, I'm cranky, just get this energy out of here. You know how we feel, girls? Okay. Now, fellas, you have a biological swing in the brain of chemistry, but nothing in your body is purging. This is why in our Native American cultures, the men used to go in and do sweat lodge together. Because the guys needed to sweat it out. They needed to let the body purge the toxins and get all the junk out of their pores. The other way guys purge, fellas, and this is healthy and it poses an issue for you, is sexually, because the body is literally, it's expulsing energy. It's expulsing matter when you're having sex, isn't it? So, that's a way that fellas kind of offload. And this can cause some misunderstanding, I've noticed in my heterosexual couples, friends, because the guys are coming home going, God, I got to offload here. And women, we're offloading all the time. We automatically offload every 28 days. We are built to offload. So we're like, oh, honey, come on now, man. I got the groceries and I got this. And a lot of times what the male partners don't necessarily always understand is that because women are built to absorb all this energy, these guys are needing to offload this energy, and girls are going, oh, we're just like, oh, baby, I love you so much, but oh my God, you have no idea how full my plate is, and now I'm taking this on. So a healthy way to communicate with partnership is to understand that there are some physical and spiritual and quantum field dynamics that are going on there. And of course, fellas, you do have self-control, right? And of course, ladies, we can not be so set in our routine sometimes. Yet, there's discernment there. Yet what's fascinating is I'm just strictly talking about the dynamics of the physics of how we move the chi in the body, because we're talking about love today, and love gets very confused with sex. And love can be sex, and it can be a loving thing. Sometimes we just make space for our partner, even though we're not really in the mood, and we get ourselves in the mood because our partner really needs that connection, because that quantum field that we are sharing with them, they need some help moving that chi through them to get that energy and that love and that connection going through and turning it in to the incredible energy that's going through their electric blanket. And it's rinsing through them, and it helps them. And it actually helps us too, because at that point, the intimacy, it's not a pity roll in the hay, okay? Yet the intimacy that we're sharing with that other individual is healing. And it's healing for us, and the gratitude we receive for them is amazing. And I don't care whether your partner's male, female, non-binary, whatever. sometimes we just get hit where we're just not in the mood, right? Yet when we see that our partner is deeply struggling, intimacy is a form of healing. And we have been taught that it's just this form of physical release. And we have really been cut away from the fact that it is really moving incredible energy through the quantum field, especially when it's done in a healthy way. We can just go blow it out with 50 partners in a night, and that's going to move chi and it's going to move energy. Yet you're also picking up everybody else's desperation to move their chi too. So you blow it out with 50 people and it's a big blowout. And depending on where those people are at, you're picking all that energy up into your quantum field. Okay? So this is important to note that yes, love can be sex. The exchange of love is very powerful when we have a physical combining of spirits, energies, and an intention and perfect chemistry. That is love too. Okay? Yet, we can exchange that type of energy without ever having sex with another person. I know it seems impossible, but here's how you do it. Our brains, are you ready for this? Our brains, our chemistry, and remember that when we feel that love energy coursing through the electric blanket of the body, okay, when we feel that, remember that our brains and our body don't necessarily know, our body, the third dimension, doesn't necessarily know how to translate that spiritual energy until our spirit connects with the electromagnetic relays called the synapses in the brain and communicates a chemical language to it. Then we can understand what the heck it is we're feeling. Because the human race, we are bags of water. Human beings, you are a bag of water walking around held up by a calcium scaffold system called your bones. That is literally what we are. So we're a bag of water, salt water, that conducts electromagnetic energy. So when we feel this quantum field coming through us and we feel this need to connect with other people, we tend to want to make it physical because that's how our body is communicating. However, we can transmit love energy and fill the body up and have our brain hit that incredible euphoric moment without actually having to get into the place of, being with another partner and hitting that hallelujah moment at the end of your great sex. Our bodies, our brains don't know the difference between the amount of dopamine and serotonin released during an orgasm and the amount of serotonin and dopamine released during something that absolutely fills your spirit up. It is a euphoric experience. People talk about having euphoric worship experiences in church. And there are saints that are documented of having these transcendent, amazing, euphoric experiences in the mind when the spirit triggers us to release those chemicals. So yes, love can be expressed physically. Yet another way that love can be expressed is when we are in service to another person. And we talk about love coming to us and us experiencing the effects of love. And I haven't received love, so I can't give love. And we lock down on this selfish, weird pattern. And it is selfish because when we do not allow love through us, because we're afraid that we haven't gotten it, so we're going to withhold it from someone else, the first person you withhold that current that's trying to run through you to give to somebody else, guess who withholds it first? You. And you withhold it from yourself. Because to not give love to the world, to not give, again, ultimate provision to the world, to not give ultimate provision to others, to not give ultimate provision to a pet, cuts it off from yourself as well. Because here's the giant mid-podcast wraparound on this, is that if we do not allow the love current to come through us, if we do not allow that love current to come through us, we do not, through our quantum field, around our body, through our cells, through our quarks, that energy in the electric blanket, we cannot fuel ourselves, period, to love the self. Because here's the other big, here's a dangling hook here, is that the love energy that we pull through us, the all provision energy, it has no idea if it's for ourselves or for other people. It's just an energy. So if I'm going to say, I'm bitter, I've been treated like ultimate garbage by everybody in my life for my whole life. And this is really super sad. This happens to people. This is people's experience, okay? So that person just looks at their life and says, screw this. Everybody can eat my shorts. I am not giving love out to the world. I'm going to withhold it. I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to make a pucker down face and just sit here, and I'm not loving anybody, and I'm just going to have a tantrum, and I refuse to pet my dog, and I refuse to even vote because I just hate everything, and I'm so angry that I have not received the love that I know I'm deserving of, that I'm not giving it out to anybody, and people can just go hang themselves. Well, even in that dramatization, you can feel the clench, right? I mean, that's like stick a piece of coal up somewhere where it shouldn't go and make a diamond clench, all right? So when we clench down that heart energetically, because we are hurt, because we are wounded, because we know that there is that all-provision energy flowing through us, we can feel it in our quantum field. We can feel it going through our electric blanket in our quilt. We know it's there. Yet our conscious mind, that prefrontal cortex says, wow, you can feel that love is real, yet nobody's actually offered it to you. And so then the prefrontal cortex wants to protect the psyche. And it says, well, wait a minute, you're totally worth that. So there must be something wrong with everybody else. You need to protect yourself from other people because you know that this love energy is possible, yet it's never been given to you in a proper way. And this is heartbreaking. That there are beings that walk the earth who have never experienced receiving that beautiful, like consciously receiving that free, beautiful feeling of love. Now, it's important to delineate 2 points from one another. First of all, we are always receiving love because the all-provision energy is the strongest, most pervasive energy holding our universe together. It is what the quantum field is made of. And it cancels out a lot of negative energies, fear, anger, all kinds of energies that are sharing that energetic line through your electric blanket. That love cancels those out because love is a dominant frequency, okay? It is a heavy frequency. It is a fast frequency. It is literally what holds our entire universe together is this all-provision miracle energy. This is the glue of the universe. It is the base building block of all matter. Okay, now this makes some sense to some people and no sense to others. So let me break this down. In the physical universe, we have 4 DNA bases that absolutely every single thing in our third dimension that we've been able to identify, whether it drops on our planet from space or whether it ends up in our oceans or our toilets or our mouth or whatever, these 4 DNA bases make up all physical matter. You know, that's adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Those are the 4, that's the dynamic foursome there that makes up our physical universe. However, on a spiritual periodic table, which I'm going to draw one of these someday because I think it'd be so cool. So on the spiritual periodic table, we've got love, we've got fear, and we've got not as many elements as you would on the physical periodic table. So just jumping to, jumping from biology into chemistry, the spiritual periodic table has love on it. And love, or all provision, or all miracle, or all adherence energy is the building block for everything. So that all provisional energy is the building block for adenine. It's the building block for thymine. It's the building block for guanine. It's the building block for cytosine. It is the energy current in which all of our physical base DNA is based upon, fueled by, and energized with. Okay, so when you want to break everything down in the universe to 4 base DNA elements, you got to break it down further to the energy current or the spiritual current that is weaving through all of our electric blankets, the quantum field, going through those wires, weaving between your cells and your atoms, and that is the all provision energy. That is love. Okay. Now, why am I busting this down in such a just like a mind-numbing way today? I'm doing it so that we can understand that the building block of love is not just sex, it's not just connection, it's not just what we get from somebody else, that when we wish to attempt to psychologically decide that we are going to withhold love from others, the universe doesn't know how to delineate withholding love from others or the world and withholding love from the self, because the electric blanket is just pulling through electricity. That electricity is not going, well, I'm going to heat up this one wire, but I'm going to skip those 2 wires. Then I'm going to go to those 3 wires. Then I'm going to leave it off the feet because they always get too hot at night. Forget about it. That electricity is unilaterally hitting the entire blanket, okay? So if we decide that we want to not experience the sensations of that love, we can choose to fight the current of love and to fight the current of all provision. And that takes a full-time job. That's a full-time job to defy that current. Yet we can never turn it off. Okay? Now, this gets into some very painful places for people because we have identified love as something that we receive from others, and that is super true. We do receive the energy of love from others, absolutely. Yet, we receive it through the earth. We receive it through the sky. We receive it through giving the action of ourselves to others. Sometimes when we generate love by we don't really generate it. It courses through us. When we channel love into the world by serving others, that feels good, doesn't it? It feels really good. And if we're clenching down saying, I'm not going to give any love and everybody can just go eat a worm, blah, we are punishing ourselves the worst. We're not keeping ourselves safe. We literally are punishing ourselves. Now, obviously, gang, we're grown-ups. And obviously, if there are people out there who do not know how to go into a healthy love exchange with you, it's kind of silly to keep chasing those people and throwing love at people who don't want to receive that type of romantic love or emotional love from you. Obviously, that's a weird idea. What we're talking about today is understanding that the love vibration is there no matter what. And we can tap into that love vibration even if we're not receiving it from another person. And sometimes our wounds can be so great. Because we're wounded, because as a little kid, we watched, Joe Blow's mom give him a hug, and maybe our mom was not that mom. Maybe we got locked in the closet or something hideous. And we don't understand, what did I do? What did I do to not be able to earn this love? I know I'm deserving of it. You know why you know that? Because it's running through your system all the time. I mean, it's honestly, that all provision energy is pervasive no matter what. So then our minds start, little hearts hurt and our minds hurt. And we're like, why am I not getting this from other people? So then if we create an outlet for the love that's inherently running through us, and we know it's there, and that's the reason we're sad, right? We're sad because the love that we know exists, that we know is running through our quantum field, our electric blanket between ourselves, that we're sharing with other people, that I'm tugging on when I roll over in my quantum field area. We know it's there. So we get sad when we're like, what? Why not me? What did I do to earn this? Well, sometimes we don't do anything to earn it. Sometimes it's just somebody else's block. Someone who is unable to give you love is unable to give themselves love. People who are unable to extend forgiveness to others are unable to extend forgiveness to the self. Our prefrontal cortex, our executive decision-making center in the brain, well, this thing's up there going, God dang, I got to figure this out because this just sucks. So when we channel the love energy, and even if we're not receiving it from others, if we give it to other people, if we volunteer at a homeless shelter for baby animals, and we take care of these neglected animals, and we just love on them, when we literally have the opportunity to give something love that just wants to soak it up, it completely opens up our love channels. And the brain has no idea that you're not having hot monkey sex with somebody. The brain is going, wow, I'm loving on this little sweet doggy that got its face kicked in and it lost an eye. And I'm adopting this doggy and I am creating the most incredible space for this baby that could possibly be. I am going to put so much love into this doggy, and the brain goes, ah! And we're like, wow, I feel great, because we're allowing the love through us. Now, animals are phenomenal. Animals don't know how to deny love. They don't. They don't have that switch in them. They just receive and they receive and they receive, and then they just give us love. And a poor baby animal can be scared of people, but it will still accept your love. Dogs are phenomenal for this. And they always say you run dog backwards and you have God, because they just love you. And more than loving you, they know how to receive your love wherever you're at. Dogs are fascinating. In the Bible, in the Christian Bible, of course, there's this beautiful passage that is one of my favorites. Love is patient, love is kind, right? And you think about the dogs, and that is them. They are patient, they are kind, they literally know exactly who you are at all times, and they accept you. The energy of love that goes through the quantum field and goes through your electric blanket in your souls, the energy of all provision, think about that. What is all provided for? Acceptance, right? I mean, literally, it's acceptance. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It's not proud. It's not rude. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no records of F-ups and wrongs. It doesn't get happy when somebody's doing something nasty to another person. It doesn't delight in evil. It gets super excited when it resonates with the truth. Love always stands in the gap for other people. It inspires a courage in all of us to protect those who are faltering. And it trusts that process. Love always trusts that process. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm a dog. you need to prove to me that you're not going to be terrible. I mean, maybe once the dog's been abused, but love always trusts. And and the flip side of trust, in order to have trust, you have to have some hope. Love always hopes. And it pushes and it pushes. Love pushes and pushes and pushes through that quantum field, always standing in the gap for standing up for what is healthy for all. It always perseveres. And love, because it is the greatest element on the spiritual periodic table, because it is the all-provision energy, because it fuels everything, because it powers the base 4 DNA pairs in our universe, because it powers our spirit, it never fails. It never fails. So, when you think about that old Bible verse, which is, love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't envy, it doesn't boast. It's not proud, it's not rude. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. It does not delight in evil. It rejoices in the truth. It always protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres, and never fails. Well, we can turn that into a platitude, or we can actually look at that particular spiritual teaching, which if you look in other modalities of other religions, that same teaching comes through. I just picked on that one because that was my particular reason as a kid, was in the Christian religion. Yet it's a spiritual truth that transcends just the Christian religion, because it actually talks about the spiritual dynamics and power of the all-provision energy of love. So how do we use this energy? If we're so busy boiling it down to an intellectualized or physical concept, how do we use the love energy when it is what creates miracles? Because to have a miracle, we have to be trusting enough to allow the miracle into our life. I mean, it creates healing because it always protects. It protects our cells. It protects our body. It protects our psyche. Yet we have to have enough hope to be able to establish the perimeter for trust in order for that energy that is naturally coursing through our quantum field to be maximized. Now, here's the thing, gang, and this is where this gets really crazy, like what the bleep do we know crazy, okay? In my work in identifying energies, in my work in identifying that which exists in the quantum field, which is the shared field with all of us, the blankie we're all sharing, that weaves between our cells, all right? Love, when we think about this, the power of this is where it really gets crazy. So this energy of patience, kindness, of graciousness, of humility, of being polite, of giving to others, of being patient, of being forgiving, of looking on the bright side, of celebrating truth. This energy of protection and of trust and hope and strength and courage to get through the rough times and to persevere is in every single vibration and molecule in our dimension and in others. I want you to think about that a minute, because we are obsessed in the United States of America with green energy and free energy. We are obsessed with it. Tesla developed an amazing device, which our energy companies and our federal government, which went in and seized his patents on and all of his research on. Tesla developed a device to extract energy, electromagnetic energy, out of thin air and to pass it on to everybody. Tesla had a lot of off-world DNA in him, and a lot of Tesla's research has to do with how off-world craft are run, UFOs. They extract energy out of the quantum field. So why am I talking about Tesla? Because we can accept science, people, right? Well, some of us can't. Some of us live on a flat world where there's no global warming. However, most of us can accept science. And when we see a scientific discovery, because those scientific discoveries have been peer-reviewed, they've been pounded out, they've been put through the rigor of due diligence and true reflective process, we accept those results, typically. Most people do. Yet when it comes to spiritual physics, we are the people who claim the earth is flat and there's no climate change, aren't we, as a race? When we try to talk spiritual physics, people say, no, there's no proof of that. I'll tell you, yes, there is proof of that. A mother gives birth to a baby. Even the mothers who know that they can't, for whatever reason, at that point in their life, take care of those babies. And even those mothers who give those babies to good other parents who are in a better position to give them the daily, requirements of provision and love. Even those mamas, once those babies go into the world and they know it's the best thing for the baby and it's the best thing for them at that moment, they still love those babies. They can feel that baby out there somewhere. They can feel that human being. We have proof of love as an energy everywhere. We have proof as the all-provision love energy that heals cancer when people come out of being angry with themselves. And I say this all the time. My dear friend Holly, she's my sister. I played in Pope Jane with her forever. She's the bass player there. And we've done all kinds of music over the years. Holly had stage 4 cancer. And she's the one I talk about who cured her cancer through not only nutrition, but a big part of it was mindset and energy set. And Holly gave away a ton of anger and resentment to cure the body and to heal the body. Because love heals, because it is the all-provision energy. It wants to bring support and trust to the cells. So we who are obsessed with free energy in this country, we would love it if somebody would give us a free energy bill. We would love it if somebody gave us free gasoline all year long. We would love it if somebody paid our electrical bills, our MDU bill, our natural gas bill, our propane bills. We'd love it because we see that as elements that generate energy that we must pay for. How about the fact that the love energy is full of provision, fuels everything, is free? We are passing it from one to the other because it is the energy of all provision. We don't have to pay for it. We simply tap into it. And here's the best part. Just like Tesla's device, the more love we pull out of the quantum field to enact into the world, the more we are delivered. The more energy that Tesla's device pulled out of the air, that energy was completely dependent on what it was powering. If it was a giant object, that energy would be pulled out of the air to fuel the giant object, but there was always more energy. That's the way that UFOs run. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them have a particular power generator that extracts the same energy out of the quantum field, and the faster the craft needs to go, the more energy is extracted. How many of you in your life have felt a great courage when standing in the gap from someone else who is getting oppressed. And the more you stand in the gap, the more courage you pull to keep doing that. We have an unlimited amount of love energy, of all provision energy that is available to us. It is the free gasoline for our endeavors. Yet we still get into this ideological meltdown in our heads about what love is, so we disconnect our ability to utilize this endless current that is running through the quilt that is the quantum field, that is the dark matter, that is wrapped around us, that is wrapped through our cells, that is wrapped through the quarks in our very nature of what we're made up of, in our atoms. We refuse to allow more of it in. So here is where we're going with the big ending on this podcast today, is that your homework for this week is to think of yourself as the Tesla power unit, extracting all of the electromagnetic energy out of the air in order to power whatever was hooked up to it. If it was a little bitty clock, it just barely pulled any power. If it was powering a building, it would pull all of the energy for the building. You are that semiconductor. You are the bag of salt water, and as we all know, salt water is the most effective electromagnetic conduction system, one of the most effective on our planet. So you're a walking bag of salt water made to pick up all of this energy. So you get the job this next week to put as much love energy and to power as much in your world through the all provision energy called love as possible. So when you pick up the phone and you send out, and you call somebody and you send out this energy of, this phone call is just strictly to tell you how valuable you are. That is massive. You are pushing that love out into the world. And more love flows through your electric blanket, through your cells, through your quarks, through your atoms. And when this happens, you begin to feel differently in the physical body. Because what is the physics of the spirit communicating to the brain? It's saying, hey, release those happy chemicals. We are enacting the love energy. And again, the brain can't tell the difference between where that love energy is coming from or what the energy is being used for. That's our conscious mind that does that. The electromagnetic impulses, the synapses of the brain that create those chemicals, they're just reacting to the energy that hit them that says, hey, it's time to release these. That is the love energy. All right. So what I think is so dynamic about the love energy is your homework is to flood yourself with this love energy and realize it is endless and it will affect every single thing positively and support every positive thing you have in your life. Because every single other element on this planet is supported in this same quantum field vibration. It is the baseline for all creation. Now, some people would call this baseline God. Some people would say, well, God is love. God is everything. If you want to call it God, call it God. Yet it is the energy that we attach to each other and share. And it is, and God, the God energy is part of that. That Mother, Father, God energy is very present. And whether we believe in a God or not, again, the energy is what we're talking about here today. And the energy that it's just the nature of the universe. It is the vibration of the universe. So when you are going out today, and maybe you are somebody who had a very unfortunate upbringing, and the people in your life had wounds themselves, and maybe they just didn't know how to love you. And that doesn't mean that you weren't lovable. It means that they have this endless supply of the love energy coursing through their veins, yet they have no idea how to grasp that energy for themselves. Therefore, they don't understand. It's moving through them. It's there for their use. Yet intellectually, they do not recognize the energy current. So think about a great big picture here. We as a species, especially in America, have been taught that love is something you receive, that love is a rush of a physical sensation, that love is third dimensional to a point of being able to see externals. We have been taught that this is what love is, especially here in the US. Yet what love is an energy and a building block that is flowing through us all the time, that if we apply to our productions in our life, will result in mass growth. That growth is fueled by love, therefore it transmutes the love. It absorbs the love, it takes on the love, and it broadcasts the love. So, if the love frequency, if the all provision frequency is running through all things, why do bad things happen? Why is there abuse? Why is there racism? Why is there hatred? Well, let me tell you how much energy it takes to I can't say we can shut ourselves off from the all provision energy because it's literally running through the quantum field. So we can't shut it off. Yet we can choose to not engage it consciously because it literally is fueling our body. It's fueling our cells. It's running our world. Yet we can choose to not engage its greatest attributes and gifts. And in order to do that, that's a conscious exercise. And the conscious exercise is to constantly it's like a tennis game. You're constantly batting the ball back. Nope, 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 nope. Don't want that. Don't want that support. Don't want that positive attribute. Nope, don't want those people to help me. Nope, I don't want that love reaching out to me. Nope, I don't want that positive comment because then I'll get sucked into actually believing that maybe I'm worth something and I'll disappoint myself later. Nope, nope. And we bat it back and we bat it back and we bat it back. And pretty soon we've got tennis elbow and pretty soon our shoulder's falling off and pretty soon our hip is bad because we spend all of our time batting back these gifts that are trying to come to us through the quantum field. We are literally trying to think how gross this is. This is a horrifying visual that just came to me. It's like literally trying to rip our own vein system out of our body, like making an incision in your groin and reaching in there and just wrapping your finger around that artery, and you just start ripping, and you can feel all those veins ripping up under your skin and ripping out your leg. I mean, trying to ignore the love energy that's coursing through the body or the all provision energy that we can then use for whatever is literally like trying to rip out our own vein system. Like I can't even hardly deliver that analogy. I'm rubbing my leg here. It ooged me out completely. Yet that's how destructive it is. Now, the other thing about all provision energy is it will fuel anything we want to do. So if we want to provide for ourselves by ripping out our veins, by God, it's going to let you. Now, you cannot extricate the all provision energy from the quantum field. Yet we can create an illusion of living separate from that energy that is all pervasive in the quantum field. I want you to think about this. We can create an illusion that we are separate from other people. We can create in our prefrontal cortex an illusion, a construct, a strictly mental construct that we are not connected to anything. We can create that construct in the mind and adhere to it with our will, that we are only subject to this third dimension. Whatever happens with our body, we're on the other end of life. We are just a victim in our universe. We can absolutely use the all provision energy to create that matrix, cast ourselves in it, lock the door, and live our lives until we die in that illusion. That doesn't mean that there's still not energy running through the walls outside of our locked doors. That doesn't mean that even the locked door that we locked is made of that provisional love energy. It means that we are adhering to the rules of the illusion that we have created in that prefrontal cortex. That is called delusion. And many of us have gone through life in America and the world in delusion that we are separate from one another, in delusion that we do not have the most powerful energy signature that holds this whole incarnation and other dimensions together, weaving our cells together that we share with others. God, I just get this massive breath of energy when I connect to the rest of the quantum field. Go ahead and connect, because it's a delusion that you're not connected. You feel that rush that's hitting you? That's because we live in the prefrontal cortex's area that is the illusion of what we can experience, and love, all provision energy is running through you at all time. It is a delusion that we cannot fortify the body to assist it in healing. We delude ourselves into believing that the only thing that will fix us is a pharmaceutical. And believe me, I'm not anti-Western medicine. I'm not. And thank God we don't live in 1510 where we died of the flu, okay? There's a great place for Western medicine. Yet to be deluded into believing that the largest, most incredible energy signature that holds the entire known universe together and is even the fuel for the baseline of the 4 building blocks of our DNA, to be in a delusion that as we draw that incredible all-provision energy in, to be in delusion that we are not able to go forward is the very nature of illusion right there. That is the nature of it. So, as you go forward in the world today, understand that love, what is love? It is the very nature of the fabric of all quantum field that runs between all things. It is the power of ultimate connection. It is ultimate healing, ultimate protection. The more you put into the world, the more you exercise that love into the world, the greater capacity you have to expand into who you are. This is the power of who and what you are. And this love is going nowhere in you except to fuel everything that you are in your very being. Okay? So just sit with this information and understand when you go into Valentine's Day, it's awesome if you have somebody that you love. Go to dinner. Have great sex. Yay! Yay sex! Have great intimacy. Have great connection. Yet understand that the love that you put into the world is not something you're doing. It is simply there by your being. You are the radio antenna for this ultimate provision. If you want to feel good in your life, pull ultimate provision through and give it to others. Donate $5 when you barely have it. Give other people a coffee when you think that it's your last dime, and watch the 9 coffees and the $40 that comes back to you. This is a tenet that churches base their tithing upon. Yet what they don't explain is that it's not if you give to the church gives back. What they don't explain is that this is all provision that's there, period, whether a church was there, was not, or not. Okay? That's what they're not explaining. So, give love. You are love. Love is the building block of all things. Understand that you are in a miracle position for everything to come through for you. Understand that you too have the opportunity to expand into a consciousness that's going through your cells right now. You just have been working hard because you've been trained perhaps maybe to ignore it because you thought it wasn't real. Because we've all been gaslighted by a dysfunctional consumerism system that wants us to buy love. I mean, it gets crazy how we externalize. I wish all of you the miracle potential and the miracle actualization in your life, because that's what you are. You're a walking miracle. So go have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Have a wonderful every day. Recognize that we are that which transforms the world. We are the ascendants of the world. Recognize that which we are here to bring through. Be the Tesla machine that pulls love through. The all-amazing miracle energy of anything is possible. Plug it into the world and watch more of everything being possible come to you, because we'll never run out. So obviously, I am a huge fan of the love signature. I'm a huge fan of love because not only is it our birthright, is it our primary operating system, it is the most powerful energy that supports this dimension possible. So I want to leave you with a Valentine's gift, okay? I wrote a song in 2017, and it's called Go Be Love. And it was on my last album, Gotta Go Back the Way That You Came. I put it out in 2017. And that album did well. It won an award. It was a great album. And this particular song holds a huge place in my heart because I did all the orchestral arrangements for this song when I was writing it, when I was composing the music. it just literally became this anthem. And the song went on to be used by youth organizations all over the world. I mean, I was so humbled and honored by that. Youth organizations over in Russia, in Ukraine, in France, in Northern Africa. I did all kinds of interviews because of this particular amazing song. And those interviews were related to youth organizing and youth inspiring, which really was amazing. So I want to leave you with this song. You can find the video on YouTube, Go Be Love. And I just hope that you are able to internalize the power of love, because it is where it's at in terms of our 2019's reconstruction year. And it's where it's at in terms of our healing. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow, everybody. I love all of you. I will see you next week. Yet for now, go be love.
Bring it down like a hammer, build it up like a house. Swing it wide like a banner, sneak it in like a mouse. Shout it big in a canyon so it echoes loud. Kick it off like a rocket, blowing off through the clouds. Go be love, 'cause the world needs you. Rise above the fear that bleeds you. Go be love, 'cause the world needs you. It's not a word of Valentine, it's courage there to hold the line against the world that bows to hate. When fear comes knocking at your gate, be love. It's not too late. A drum beat, hug it out like a champ, laugh it out like a bellows, or rev it up twin camp, throw it long like a football, Hail Mary, hail, light it up like a bonfire, open wide like a sail. Go be love, 'cause the world needs you. Rise above the fear that bleeds you. Go be love, 'cause the world needs you. It's not a word of Valentine, it's courage there to hold the line against the world that bows to hate. When fear comes knocking at your gate, be love. It's not too late. Sweep away this nightmare that's not real. 'Cause love's a word, but it's a verb. So put yourself to work. Go be love, 'cause the world needs you. Rise above the fear that bleeds you. Go be love, 'cause the world needs you. It's not a word of Valentine, it's courage there to hold the line against the world that bows to hate. When fear comes knocking